Now, today I want to just touch on a particular topic before I take questions, and that's the things you didn't know about VAWA. So, there are certain things that you didn't know about VAWA that I want you to know about. For example, in this case, where you don't know much about VAWA, or you may miss a fact about VAWA, it also means that you miss the opportunity to apply for VAWA relief. And once that opportunity is missed, some people cannot get it back. So I want to make sure that I'm going to tell you cover three facts, little known facts about VAWA, so that if you are in that situation, you don't miss the opportunity to apply for this. Because sometimes I do have consultations with people that come and they tell me about a situation that fits squarely within VAWA, but guess what happens? The time has passed and they no longer qualify for this. So I want to make sure that you don't have to face a situation like that, and you can jump on the opportunity to apply for your own green card, your own work permit while you wait on the green card right here in the US. All right. So hi there, Temi Toppy. It's nice to see you. Now, hi, Torty. Thanks so much for that encouragement. Now, the first fact here is you were married to a US citizen, right? And then this US citizen became a nightmare. You decided to go ahead and divorce them. Sometimes before you even applied for your papers with them, you may have even moved forward with applying for your papers with them, but cancel those papers because you just did not want to move forward with this type of marriage. And I want you to know in this case, it's urgent. You can still qualify for VAWA, but you are on a tight deadline to get that VAWA application in. And that's because you only have 2 years after the divorce has been finalized to still apply for VAWA based on the mistreatment of your US citizen or resident. Mind you, it's not just US citizen or resident spouse. So do not let this opportunity pass. I've seen it happen too many times, and I don't want it to happen to you. This is why I come on here. This is why I tell you about these facts, so that if you are relating to it, you can get on it and get the assistance as soon as possible. So once again, if you're divorced from a US citizen or resident, you've been divorced for less than 2 years, and you divorced because this individual was mistreating you, then let's start with a consultation because you likely qualify for VAWA. VAWA would enable you to apply in a confidential process without involving this spouse. They would not be involved at all. So you don't have to worry about letting them back into your life. They are still going to be in your rear view mirror, but you will be making lemonade out of lemons because you can still use a bad situation to create a future where you can heal, move forward, and thrive with you and your family remaining here in the US. So it's confidential, you don't involve that ex spouse, and you get to get your work permit. Right now, they're issuing 5-year work permits, your travel document, so you can travel internationally while you're waiting, and you get to get your green card at the same time. So this process is 2.5 to 3 years total to get to the green card, but you get these benefits while you wait for the green card. That's a much better advantage than sitting here with no papers at all, no ability to legally work, and dealing with the disadvantages of not having your legal papers. So that's one fact. That's just one fact. So I have another fact. Now, keep in mind, this is sort of tied in with the divorce. This also counts if the spouse passed away or if the spouse was deported. So if they were say, denaturalized as a US citizen, or they were a permanent resident but they got deported, then you can still qualify to get your papers through VAWA, even though they lost their status or even though they may have passed away. So don't think that you have missed the opportunity because they passed away or they were deported or lost their permanent residence. You can still move forward with their process. So please make sure you don't let any time go by, because there is no extension for this. There is no forgiveness. There's no waiver for this. Once the deadline passes, you miss your opportunity. So that's the first one. Now, the other fact here is if you are a son or daughter of a US citizen or a permanent resident, you are mistreated by that US citizen or legal permanent resident while you were under 21. Now you are over 21, but you're under 25. You may not have missed the opportunity to apply for this, because chances are that delay was as a result or related to the abuse or mistreatment by your parent. If that's the case and you still have not applied, but you're still under 25 years old, you can still apply for VAWA, get the benefits of VAWA, and be able to get your green card in a confidential process without involving this relative, this parent, this US citizen or legal permanent resident parent. So keep that fact in mind. The other fact here is if you enter the country without permission, this is one type of relief where you can get your green card even though you enter the country without permission. You can still apply for this. You can still apply for adjustment of status. And in some cases, you can even overcome the permanent bar. That means you left the country, then you re entered. Say you left the country after being here unlawfully for a while, then you left and came back, or you were deported and returned, then that can result in a permanent bar. But keep in mind that under VAWA, you can overcome that permanent bar if your return into the US that would have resulted in a permanent bar was related to the mistreatment or abuse that you were experiencing. Here's an example. Maybe you were deported and your children were left, your US citizen children were left with the spouse. And then say the spouse, maybe the spouse coerce you to cross the border again and get back into the country so you can take care of the kids. Or maybe your kids were being mistreated and you felt the urgency to try to get back into the country to get to your kids. That is a way that the abuse is still related to your re-entry and can mean that you can overcome the permanent bar to still be able to get your green card. So these are just 3 facts that I bet you didn't know. Now you know. And if you can relate to this, or you know somebody that could potentially relate to this, it's now time to give us a call, schedule your appointment, and let's get started. We now have 3 attorneys, by the way. So we have me, Attorney Bria, and we have Attorney Diana that's now taking appointments to be able to help you. What I am doing is I am expanding our resources to make sure that we can help as many individuals as possible to be able to get their papers. That's very important. So make sure that you call the office. You can call right now, or you can go to the link in the profile and you will have all the options to be able to schedule your own appointment. Hi there on Instagram. I hit the go live button a little late on Instagram. So I have joined, I'm no longer on 3 devices for Instagram. Like I had a separate device for Instagram, a separate device for YouTube and Facebook, and I have a separate device for TikTok. But now I have everybody on one screen so that I'm able to manage the comments and questions coming in. So, but I forgot to hit the go live. There's a new process. I forgot to hit it. But hey guys, it's so nice to see you on Instagram. Now, one thing I want to say is there are three facts that I shared previously on YouTube, on Facebook, and TikTok about VAWA that you didn't know. If you're divorced, you've been divorced for less than 2 years, then you can still apply for VAWA based on mistreatment by a U.S. citizen or legal permanent resident spouse. Just because you're divorced does not mean that you can't apply for VAWA. And they're still in your rearview mirror, by the way. You don't have to bring them back in the fold to apply for VAWA. They will continue to be in your past. You can continue to move forward, and this is a confidential process. So that's one fact I share. The other fact is that if you're under 24 and you were mistreated by your U.S. citizen or legal permanent resident spouse while you were under 21, you may still qualify for VAWA, but you cannot reach the age of 25. So you need to make sure you get on that ASAP, and you can stay here and get your green card at the same time. Then the other fact was that also, if you've been deported, if you have a U.S. citizen, and U.S. citizens usually cannot be deported, but if, say, the U.S. citizen was denaturalized, lost their citizenship, so did a permanent resident, they're deported, as long as you apply for your papers within 2 years of that happening, them losing their status, you can still apply for VAWA without them. So those were the facts that I shared previously, that I'm just now, because I clicked the live button late on Instagram, I'm just now telling you. Now that everybody's caught up, I want to get to questions. I see a ton of great questions coming in. I want to make sure that I can get to your questions. Should I be scared to travel with my advance parole? Do not travel on an expired advance parole. Do not travel on a travel document. This is a travel document, by the way, that's about to expire. And if you're in the middle of renewing your work permit and advance parole, do not travel with the assumption that the receipt notice is going to give you an extension on your travel document. Now, other than that, you need to evaluate on a case-by-case basis whether you face increased risk of traveling on that advanced parole. Advanced parole does not completely give you protection against refusal to get back into the country, but it's better to have one. If you have to leave, it's better to have one than one not at all. But it's really on a case-by-case basis. So that's where it's so important to have an attorney. Hey, Sheriff, I'm able to get a work permit without getting married. Now, a majority of my clients are getting their work permits without getting married. So it is possible. But whether it's possible for you really comes down to one thing. You have to make sure that you talk to us in a consultation. That's what our clients have done. And because of that, they are now with their work permit. We got 2 work permits, by the way, today. So our clients, actually 3. So we got 3 work permits. Our clients are getting these work permits and they are not getting married. They don't have to do these things. They don't have to, you know, jump hoops to go try find a life partner within a few months to get their papers. That's too much pressure. They are doing it legally through processes, but we have to understand your circumstances to be able to tell you whether you qualify for one of these ways. How long does it take to get a receipt notice after T visa application submitted? About 2 weeks. What's your office number and where you located? So office number is, I'm going to type it into the comments, but keep in mind that it's on every video that we post, most videos that we post in the caption. You can also go to the link in the profile. So in the comments, look for Immigration Lawyer Sharifa, write down that number, 561-405-4889. And by the way, because I'm on one platform now, it's going across the screen. So if you look at the video, you'll see, I think you can see it. You probably see it. It's going across the screen with that ticker, 561-405-4889. All right. So let me see. I see a ton of questions. I'm going to work to get to everybody's questions, so hang tight for me, please. How much is your consultation? $150. Can someone get a T visa when employers did not give the SSN tax in W-2 or R1 visa? Absolutely, but we need to understand the facts. Just because an employer didn't give you an SSN, employers can't give you an SSN, by the way, and they didn't give you a W-2 or they haven't given you the R1 is not enough to establish whether you qualify for T visa. T visa is all about what did the employer force you to do? So did they promise these things to you? Did they get you to work for them, but it turned out they fraudulently or falsely promised you these things and then didn't deliver? And was their promise the reason you worked for them? In that case, that can amount to labor trafficking based on fraud. But we need to understand, same as being overworked and underpaid, these are indications, red flags, of course, that you may qualify for the T, but it doesn't confirm it until we can hear all the facts. What do you think about DHS counter this morning? And do you think PIP will be lifted September 9th? We'll have to see. I doubt that the party that's suing is just going to let this go and let the PIP program continue. They may still go to the judge and ask the judge to extend the ban. So we'll have to see. 20-year-old Jamaican and business owner, I'd like to apply for my visa. What's your best advice? So make sure you can show all the evidence that you have strong ties to your home country to be able to get that. Can someone get, I answered that. Are you supposed to file for I-485 after VAWA approval? You can, but in many cases, most cases, you can apply for the I-485 before. And we definitely don't miss that for our clients, because by applying for the I-485 before the approval, which the approval can take 2.5 to 3 years, so you definitely want to make sure you submit that I-485 before VAWA approval. And in that case, once the I-485 is approved, you can get your work permit, you can get your travel document while you wait. So we don't usually, in most cases, I would say 95% of our cases, that's not going to happen. In a few cases, there are situations where we do have to wait. After you got your working permit through asylum, can you make removal and do marriage to a U.S. citizen? So it sounds like your situation is a little more complex, a lot of considerations. Definitely talk to us in a consultation. Can I get unskilled visa sponsored job if you're outside of the US or if you're here on current status? An employer can certainly apply for that for you. Now, the employer has to do that. I applied for PIP on 27th, and on the 30th I got scheduled for fingerprint. Is the case moving? They may still be scheduling biometrics, but they cannot make decisions, right? So they're still accepting, but they're not making decisions. They're barred from making decisions, but this bar was for 14 days. It may be extended. We'll have to see. Do you get the work permit? Yes, we love work permits. How long after going to biometrics and do you receive prima facie? So it could be a month or two. I-765 transfer to new office, how to get work permits in VAWA. So yeah, that's just a usual transfer of the workload. Can I apply for VAWA if I'm still married to my husband? We've been married. Yes, you can. Absolutely. We need to talk in a consultation though to figure out the logistics of it. And VAWA, can I apply for parole in place? So if you will always hear me say you are applying for VAWA, VAWA and parole in place does the same exact thing. VAWA helps to fix your papers, get you your papers, get you your work permit, and gets you to the green card. Parole in place does say the same. What I would say with VAWA is that you may create complications in your case just depending on your facts. If you're applying for VAWA, then you're applying for parole in place with a presumption that you're living in a harmonious marriage. That can create a credibility issue for your VAWA. So tread lightly on that. Make sure you have legal guidance through the process. And is it worth it? Because VAWA does the same thing as parole in place. So it may not be worth it to go through those hoops just to duplicate the kinds of relief you're getting. Can I have health insurance with a prima facie determination letter with VAWA? Some states may offer some medical assistance with a prima facie, but you have to check the state's public assistance offices, usually called human services, to be able to determine whether you can get it with a prima facie in that state. What should I expect after getting the work permit and the social? Get out there, work, live your life, get a head start on life. You can basically do anything at that point. Live and work anywhere you want to in the US until you get the final decision. I'm in the process to submit my VAWA. Can I apply to for parole in place? So I answered that question. And now, if you're in the process of applying, you haven't applied yet, um, then you talk to an attorney to figure out which one is the most appropriate form of relief for you. Are you supposed to? So I answered that. Um, all right. So many good, great questions. If my adjustment of status I-485 marriage base was denied because my wife failed to submit documents, do I have to wait until my I-360 is approved before I can apply for adjustment of status? So my immediate answer and instinct would be no. You do not have to wait to apply for the adjustment of status if your spouse is a U.S. citizen. If a permanent resident, you may have to wait for your party date to become current to apply for the adjustment of status. Can I withdraw my marriage I-485 that I filed with parole under D212D5A, that's parole in place, or parole into the country, issued by ICE at the border, which has been pending for 9 months, and instead refile a new I-485? Well, it amounts to the same thing. If you are dealing with a processing time issue, you could be complicating your case by withdrawing and then refiling. This is you definitely need to talk to an attorney to sort those considerations out. Can I travel with advanced parole even though I don't have any deportation proceedings, but I have some immigration history? It depends on what kind of immigration history you have. I cannot tell you whether you can travel. I only do that for my clients because it's such a sensitive matter and it's really on a case by case basis. Greetings, can I travel? Good day, please. I applied for VAWA since May 2022. When do you think I'll get a response from USCIS? If you're talking about a decision, I'm seeing those decisions coming through in 2.5 to 3 years. Good afternoon. How long do you take to prepare and file T visa? It all depends on the case. You will often hear me say this. So I don't run a McDonald's drive-through because I'm an attorney that focuses on quality. That's why we win for our clients through the quality of our work. Doesn't mean that we work slowly, but we work steadily, we work carefully, we work thoroughly. And so there's no one answer for each of our clients. Some of our clients, we have to work through issues first before we can file. Some of our clients is very straightforward, and it means that we can file right away. but it really depends on what your case looks like. And what you should take comfort in is not the speed of the filing. I mean, that's nice, but you also want to make sure that the speed of the filing does not compromise the quality of your filing. So that's where you need to make sure, talk to us. Let's talk, evaluate your case, make sure you qualify, because I don't take every, and people don't just come to me and say, I want to file a T visa, file that T visa for me. I make sure you qualify for it. So I don't run an operation where I just file T's. I make sure you qualify. Every one of my clients, I believe very strongly in their case, and I file it based on my qualifications, their qualifications for the T visa. So that is one. So let's talk in a consultation, make sure you qualify, and then we can talk to you about when we can, the timeline to file that T visa. Is the T visa completely confidential? Absolutely, yes, it is. You're with us, with our clients, we prioritize our clients' safety and confidentiality. Good afternoon. If a person comes across the border and get married, at what point are they sent back home for interview? Is a green card or citizenship green card? When they're applying for the green card at the interview stage, they have to fly down in time to prepare for the interview. Can you help someone who's already filed for VAWA application before to expedite? So we only expedite our current clients' cases. We do not expedite people's cases who are, um, you know, uh, they're pending already. Good morning. Nice to see you again. Can one with B1, B2 overstay file for green card through citizen children? If the citizen children are age 21 or older, how do I apply for driver's license in Florida? I have a prima facie letter, but online it looks like you also need to show social security number. So on our list, it's usually the prima facie, the receipt notice, but in regards to um, the social security, that does not come until the work permit. So, and we have a list that shows when it's complete, what the complete document. So this is distributed among us as attorneys. And on that list, prima facie and the receipt notices are what are required. I have been in an abusive marriage for just 4 months. Can I qualify for VAWA after suffering abuse for just 4 months? If you faced abuse for one day, you can qualify for VAWA. Nobody should be experiencing abuse, not even for one day. Hi there. All right. And then I'm going to answer on Instagram. If you're on a B2 visa and also have a C1D visa, is the option to apply for work permit possible, not just based on you can't apply based on B2, you can't apply based on C1D. So, no. When you're doing the interview, does your wife have to be there? If it's marriage based, yes. What if you're in asylum process and then you decide to get married? Will married overrule the asylum process? It may, but you want to make sure it's not going to contradict each other either. Are you in Georgia? We represent clients in all 50 states. We're based in Florida, but we represent clients in Georgia. We represent clients in every state of the U.S. I overstayed a student visa 10 plus years. I have an expired work permit and I have 3 children here. I work and pay taxes. I receive state and federal back for years, but I don't have status. So unfortunately, there's nothing in place that provides an overstayed individual legal status just based on paying taxes. It's still good though. Still pay your taxes because it can be beneficial in showing, first of all, physical presence in the US, where you do need to show physical presence. It can show good moral character, and it may be a part of immigration relief and reform in the future. So that may pay off for you in the future. But for right now, that alone is not going to get you any immigration relief. Crossing the border and get married, at what point is the person sent back for the interview? Now, keep in mind that we're still keeping an eye on parole in place, but that could be a potential option. If you go the I-601A waiver process, at the point that your interview is scheduled, that is where you're going to go down. After you've been approved for the waiver, you're going to go to the interview in your country. Can you please suggest something for F1 visa interview? So, with that one, their main concern is that you still have temporary intent, non immigrant intent, and they want to make sure you can pay for your education. So, make sure you can show proof that you're paying for the education or proof that you're covered for those costs and that you do not have an immigrant intent, that you plan to return to your country after you've completed the F1 program. Okay, I'm in a B2 visa and have a valid C1D visa. My employer didn't renew the contract notified while on vacation in the US. I wonder if I can apply for a work permit not based on that alone. You can always give us a call and evaluate your options. That's what we do. But just those facts alone is not going to tell me whether you can get the T. All right, that's going to be it for me today. Thanks everyone for your time. I really appreciate these questions. These are great questions. Thanks, Donna. It's nice to see you. Thanks so much. So Donna says, "Hi, Sheriff. Big up the world is love. Big up the word is love." Thank you for that. Um, let's see. I'm from Jamaica, so these questions are so good. Sometimes I can't refuse them. So let me just answer a few more and then I have to head out. I'm from Jamaica. My wife is a U.S. citizen. She filed the I-130 at Nebraska Service Center in August. What's the longest the Nebraska Service Center to be approved? You can actually look that up. So go to processing times and you can look up the Nebraska Service Center processing times for the I-130 and you'll see it there. Please, my question. So let's see. Are you supposed to file an I-485 after VAWA approval? Leonard, I answered that previously. You don't have to in many cases. There may be very few cases where you have to wait for an approval. So I'm going to talk about the cases where you can apply for I-485 right away. If you're the son or daughter of a U.S. citizen under 21, right away, you can apply for I-485 at the same time as VAWA. If you're the spouse of a U.S. citizen, you can apply for I-485 at the same time as VAWA petition. If you are the spouse of a permanent resident, you don't wait for the VAWA approval, but you do have to wait for your immigrant visa number to become current. We look at a chart every month to see if our client's immigrant visa number is current, and then we file the I-485 at that point, which is still way before a VAWA approval. And then the other, I think this one takes the longest, is if you are applying and you're under 24 but over 21, then you do fall into the category of about a 5 to 7 year process. At that point, you do have to wait. You even may have to wait on after your VAWA approval to apply the I-485, but you would get additional protections and work permits while you wait for the time to apply for I-485. So it depends on what situation you're in. I have a pending I-485 for 8 months now. If I file VAWA, will everything start over? If you have the pending I-485, you make the switch, that for I-485 can keep going. You can keep it going even after you apply for the VAWA. So you can keep it going and it won't start all over. All right. Okay, so thanks again, everyone, for your time. This is great. These are great questions. Keep it coming. I'm going to work to come back tomorrow where we can talk about, any updates that I have, but also your questions, because all your questions are so great. So thanks again for all your time, and I'll see you tomorrow, hopefully. And this is what I do. Remember to like, subscribe, follow, because that's how you're gonna get notification that I'm live. And then you can hop on with me once you're available to ask your questions. Have a good one. Bye bye.